Well, alright, so I found this question quite interesting and I think I would like to share. The name of the question is the patching array, and let's get right to what the question wants us to do basically. So, given a sorted integer array norms and an integer n, add or patch, if you like, add elements to the array such that any number in the range from 1 to n, inclusive of 1 and n, can be formed by the sum of some elements in the array. Then return the minimum number of patches required. For example, if you have 1 and 3, um, they said that any combination of the array can be formed by the sum of any element of the array. That's the range from 1 to 6 can be formed by arranging this array anyhow. So what the question means is, can I form 1 from the arrangement of this? Yes. Can I form 2 from the arrangement of this? I can form 2. Can I form 3? I can form 3. Can I form 4? I can form 4 by doing 1 plus 2, which is 4. So if you see, you can form 1 by just taking 1. You can't form 2 because of there's no combination of this array that will give you 2. You can form 3, you can form 4. So the question is saying that what do you need to add? What element do you need to add to this range? Or how many elements do you need to add to this range that will make it possible for you to form everything? Make it possible for you to form 1, form 2, form 3, form 4, form 5, form 6. So the question says if we add 2, if we patch 2 to it, we can now have a combination of 1, 2, 3, 4, which is combination of 1 and 3, 5, which is combination of 2 and 3, which 1, 2, 3, 6, which is combination of 1, 2, 3. Right? So for this particular question, we need to insert only 1. For this particular question, we need to insert 2 and 4. And let me make a demonstration. So for this particular question, we state 1, I've forgotten, 1, 5, and 10, where n is equals to 20. Okay, so for this particular question now, we want to arrange this array in a way that we would be able to get 1, 2, 3, all the way to 20. Let's see if this works. For us to get 1, we can just take 1 from the array, right? 1 will give us 1. For us to get 2, there's no combination that can give us 2. 1 plus 5 is 6. So what do? We need to insert 2 to this array. So let's say we're inserting 2 to the array, right? So so now we can form 1, right? We can form 2 by just taking 2. We can form 3 by taking 1 and 2. So 1 and 2 will give us 3. Can we form 4? Can we form 4? 1 and 2 will give us 3. But there's no combination that will give us 4. So let's add 4 to the mix. So then if we add 4 to the mix, we can form 4 now by just taking 4, right? Can we form 5? Yeah, we can form 5. 5 is already in the mix already. Can we form 6? We can form 6 by taking 5 and 1. 5 and 1 will give us 6. Can we form 7? Yeah. 5 and 2. 7. 8 will be 5, 2, and 1. 9 would be 5 and 4. 10 is already in the mix. And if we keep going like this, we'll see that we can form to 20. 10 and 1 will give us 11. 10 and 2 will give us 12. 10, 2, and 1 will give us 13. 10 and 4, 14. 10 and 5, 15. 10 and 5 and 1, 16. 10 and 5 and 2, 17. 10 and 5 and 3 and 5 and 2 and 1, right? 18. 10, 5 and 9 and 4, 19. And finally 10, 10, 5, 4, and 1 will give us 20. Right. So it's possible, meaning that I only needed to add two value, 2 and 4, to give me the range from 1 to 20. So my answer is 2. So my answer is 2, which is what they got here. By adding 2 and 4, we get our value. For this next example, 1 to 2. For the next example, 1 to 2 to give 5. We don't need to add anything because of you can get the combination from this. You can get 1, you can get 2. 1 plus 2 will give me 3. 2 plus 2 will give me 4. 1 plus 2 plus 3 will give me 5. So there's no need for me to add anything to this mix, to the array. Yeah. So how do we write a function that would tell us the amount of data, the amount of value needed in the array to form the rest? We could do a brute force solution, right, where we calculate one by one. So we calculate if we can find one in the array, then we check if we can find two, right? If we cannot find two, we have to add something in the mix to give us the value 2. Then we check if I find 3, check if I find 4, check if I find 5, like that, right? And that would work, but from the look of it, it looks like it's going to be tedious. Tedious in the sense that you'll be doing a lot of checking, right? Let's say the value is 1000. You need to check from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is all good and fine, right? But remember that when you're checking, you are going through an array, right? So for example, now having this array 1, 2, 4, 5, 10. For you to check if, let's say, 15, a combination of 15 exists, you need to do some kind of combination, kind of 1 plus 1 is 3, right? And we're going to 15, so 3 plus 4 is 7. We're going to 15, right? Then 7 plus 5 is 12. We're going to 15. Then 12 plus 3, but there's no 3, so we need to start again and do a different combination and see if we get 15, right? And I'm guessing a better way of checking it will be by taking the highest first. So taking 10, then going backward. Plus 5 is already 15. In the sense of, if you are looking for 16, you probably want to do the same thing: 10, 5, and 1. Okay, that would also work. So you check if 1 exists, you check if 2 exists, you check if 3 exists, you check if 4 exists, like that. That's good. But there's a better way, right? They have to be a better way. They just have to be a better way. There's a better way because of, and stay with me. I I saw I eventually figured out that, okay, that's good for ethical. It's okay. I guess it's okay. I found out, or I discovered, or I noticed. I think I noticed would be a better word. I noticed a pattern in the sense that if you are given if you are given a series of array, that array would be able to form one to a particular index n as long as a particular rule is followed. So let's take the first example. The value let's take the value 1, 2, and 2. And let me replace this. Let's take the value 1, 2, and 2. The value 1, 2, and 2 would form 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as we've seen before, right? Which is good. Let's take the value 1, 1, 1. The value 1, 1, 1 will form 1, 2, and 3, which is good, right? It's following the 1 to a particular number, 1 to n. Let's take the value 1, 2, and 3. The value 1, 2, and 3 will form 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right, and 6. No. 1 will be the combination of 1, 2 will be combination of 2, 3 will be combination of 3, 4 will be combination of 3 and 1, 5 will be combination of 3 and 2, 6 will be combination of 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm trying to get somewhere, by the way. Let's look at the combination of 1, 2 and 4. 1, 2 and 4 will give us 1, it will give us 2, it will give us 3, which is a combination of 1 and 2. It will give us 4, which is 4. It will give us 5, 4, 5, which is a combination of 4 and 1. It will give us 6, which is a combination of 2 and 4. It will give us 7, which is a combination of 1, 2, and 4. Also good for this. How about if we do 1, 2, and 5? 1, 2, and 5 will give us 1. It will give us 2. But it will give us 3. But it will not give us 4. It fails at 4. So it is impossible for me to get a range from 1 to n when I use 1 to 5. How about if I use 1 to 6? Same thing too, it also fails at 4. 1, 2, 3, and no 4. So why does it pass at this, but fails at 4? So it is a bit from my observation, I observed that as long as the number in the array follows a rule, and I'm trying my best to explain it as much as possible. As long as it follows a rule in which the summation so far is less than the next summation, you can always form your value. I think I'll repeat it and try to explain better. I repeat and try to explain better, basically. So let's focus on this array. For me to actually, it fails at 4, right? So for this array to be valid, I need to add something to this array, which is 4. I need to add something to this array, which is 4. Or I can add 3. So branching from here, 1, 2, 5 is not valid. But if I do 1, 2, if I do 1 to 4, 5, this will be valid. From this 1 to 4, 5, I can form 1, I can form 2, I can form 3, I can form 4, I can form 5, I can form 6, 7, 8, 9, and I can form 10. I can form 10. I can even form. Can I form 11? 5 plus 9 plus 2, that's 11. I can form 13. I can form 12. I can form 12. And I can form 13. And I can form 13. If I put a value 1, 2, 3, and 3, 5. So instead of replacing with 4, I replace with 3. I can also form a series from 1 to a particular value. If I
Sorry, I'm not able to make a phone call at this time.
if I put the value 1, 2, 2, 5, I can also form a sequence of value from 1 to a particular value n. Right, 1, 2, 2, 5. But if I put a value of 1, 2, 1, 5, this will be 3, 4. I can also form a value from 1 to n, right? I can form 1, I can form 2, I can form 3, I can form 4, I can form 5, I can form 6. Okay, so the pattern I'm trying to say is that you can actually form a value from 1 to n. 1 to n would be inclusive of, so for you to find your n is actually the total sum of what you have in the array. So the total sum of 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 1 plus 2 plus 5 is 3, 4, 9. So I can form a value from 1 to 9. I can also form a value from 1 to, in this case it will be 1 to 10. In this case it was 1 to 13 because of 5 plus 4 is 9 plus 2 is 9 plus 2 is 11, right? plus 1, no, 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 4 is 7, 7 plus 5 is 12, yeah. So yeah, so I can form a value from 5 to 1 to 12. Sorry, I'm a bit confused. 5 plus, yeah, so I don't think I can get 13. 5 plus 9, 9, 10, 12. Yeah, 12 is my highest number. So I can form a value from 1 to n as long as this rule is followed. As long as, so let's look at why this works, this works, this works, this work. But if I use a value of, okay, so going back with this one, if I use a value of 1, 2, 0, and 5, it does not work. It does not work because of 1 can be formed, 2 can be formed, 3 can be formed, 4 cannot be formed. So the trick is I can form a value from 1 to n as long as my summation, as long as I'm taking from the beginning down to the last index, my summation of my total summation is always greater than or equals to the next value. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that if you take a look at 1, 2, 4, 5, my summation so far, if I look at the array from this angle, let's see if I can, let me see if I can check. If I look at the array from this angle, I have 1. If I 1, I have 1. The next value, right, that I should have should be 2. If I look at the array, the next value in this array is actually 2, meaning that is valid. If I take the sum of these two arrays, I'll be having 3. The next value in the array should be 4 or less than 4. The next value in the array is actually 4, meaning it is valid. If I take the summation of all this, I'll be having 7. The next value in the array should be 8 or less than 8, which is, the next value is 5, which is valid. I'll take that again. I'll take that with this example. So taking that with example 1, 2, 2, and 5. The first value is 1, right? The next value for me to have a correct sequence from 1 to n, the next value should be, since I've gotten 1, the next value in the array should be 2, 1 plus 1. So the next value in the array is or less than 2. So the next value in the array is actually 2, making it valid, making it a valid sequence. Now, the summation of 1 and 2 is 3. So the next value in the array should be 4 or less than 4. So basically, the next value in the array is 2, right? So 3 plus, the next value in the array is 2, right? 2 is less than 3, is less than 4. So it's in a complete, it's following the sequence, right? So the summation now is 5. That means the next value for me to have in the correct sequence is 6, because of so far I can form 5. The next value for me to have in the correct sequence should be 6. So my next value should be 6 or less than 6, and my next value is 5. Since it is 5, I know that my 1 to n is valid. Taking the example that was cut off, that I didn't get a correct value. Taking the example that I didn't get a correct value, which is this example 1, 2, 5. Taking this example now, right? Taking this example, and if you look at the total sum so far now is 1. For me to get to be in the right sequence, my next array should be 2 or less than 2. My next array is actually 2. So my next array is 2, making so far valued. Now my summation now is 3, right? The next value in the array should be 4 or less than 4, but the next value in the array is 5, meaning that I cannot actually get 4. So because of the next value in the array is 5, I need to add a 4, because of for me to have a valid string, my next array should be 4 or less than 4. So because of so far, I have to, my next value in the array is not 4, I need to have a 4 here. So if I add a 4 here, it makes this now valid. Now my total sum is 1 plus 2 plus 4, 6 plus 7, that's 7. Meaning my next value in the array should be 8. What it means is that so far so good, I can form from 1 to 7 with this array. I need 8 in this next array to have a valid sequence. Not 8, I need 8 or less than 8. If I have a 1, I can form 8. If I have a 2, I can form 8. If I have a 3, I can form 8. But I need an 8. If I have more than 8, I cannot form 8 because of all the values so far. All the values so far, 1, 2, and 4, cannot give me 8. It can only give me 7. So I need a 8 in my array, or a value less than 8 in my array, so that I can continue my sequence and form 8. That's what it's saying. Because of my next array is 5, it's valid. I can actually use 5 and continue my array. Now, still taking on this example 1, 2, and 5. I said, I can, 1 makes it valid, 1 and 2 makes it valid. My next value in the array should be 4, should be 4 and less than 4, not 5. Now I could have decided to put 3 in this array. It will still make it a valid sequence, right? Because of with this I can get 4. I could have decided to put 2. It will still make it a valid sequence. I can decide to put 3. I can decide to put 1. But this is where you want to be greedy. You always want to put the highest value possible. Why are we putting the highest value possible? Because when we put the highest value possible, it will make our n extend, right? Because of if I put a value of 1, 2, 1, 5, the highest value of n I can get now is 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 5, which is 3, 4, 9. If I put a value 1, 2, 3, 5, the highest value I can get is 11. But if I put the value of 1, 2, 4, 5, the highest value I cannot get is 12. So it's always better to put the higher value so that your n extends, basically. So that is the idea. Now let's try and solve the question again, right? So let's try and solve the question using this, what we know so far. So we'll take the example 1 and 3 again. Sorry. So the example 1 and 3. Now the example 1 and 3 now. Using this using what we just talked about, what we need is we need to track down a sum so far. So our sum so far will tell us what our next index should be to make it valid. Now our sum would initialize our sum as 0. So initializing our sum as 0, we know that our next value should be 1 or less. So we check our index, right? Our next value is 1 or less. Is 1, makes sense. So this making this valid, basically. So now our total sum would be 0 plus 1. So our total sum now is 1, right? So if our total sum is 1, our next value should be 2 or less. Now our next value is 3. Since our next value is 3, we know that we need to add something here in order to make it still valid. So we're going to be adding, based on this, we want to add the highest value. So we're going to add 2. So our sum, meaning that we are adding 2 in the mix, meaning that our sum now is 1 plus 2. Our sum is now 3, right? And we check. Now, our next value, we've added 2 in the mix. Our next value should be 4 or lower. Our next value is 3, meaning it's valid, right? So now our sum is going to be 3 plus 3, which is 6, right? So far so good, our array is valid. And the total sum they told us to get to is 6 from the question. The total sum they told us to get to is 6 from the question, meaning that we only needed to insert 1. Let's take another example. Let's say the total sum, let's take example 1, 5, 10. And this time, let's say the total sum they want us to get to is 40. Let's say the total sum they want us to get to is 40. So same thing, we'll start with our sum as 0. So if our sum is 0, the next index to make our array valid should be 1 or less than 1. So 1 is starting our array, meaning our so far so good, our array is valid, and our sum would be 0 plus 1, 1. Our sum now becomes 1. Now for the next value to be valid, the next value should be 2 or less, but the next value is 5, right? So we need to add 2 in the mix. So if we add 2 in the mix, our sum now becomes 3. 1 plus 2, 3. Now our next value should be 4 or less than 4, but our next value is still 5. It's not 4 or less than 4, so we need to add 4 in the mix. If we add 4 in the mix, we would now be having our total sum as 7, right? Okay. And then our next value for it to be valid now should be 8 or less than 8. Now, but our next value is 5, which is less than 8, meaning it is valid, right? Now, our total sum will be 7 plus 5. 7 plus 5 is 12. So since our total sum is 12, our next value should be 13 or less than 13. Our next value is 10, right? So it's valid, meaning this total array is valid. So that is so our new sum is now going to be what? 22. Our new sum is 22, which is 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 5 plus 10, but which is 22. So far so good, our array is valid, and we only needed to add 2. But our sum, our n is 4. They want us to get a combination of 40, but our sum is 22, meaning that our combination is only from 1 to 22. So we need to get to 40. So what do? We need to keep adding to the back. Since our sum now so far is 22, our next value in the array should be 23 or less than 23. So we're going to add 23 to the array, right? So if we add 23 to the array, our new sum will be 22 plus 23, which is 45. So our sum now is 45. Now 45 is greater than 40, meaning that if I add 23 here, I would have, and I mix them, like I try to combine them so that I can go from a range of 1 to 40. It will be possible because n is 40, meaning that I needed to add 2, 4, and 23. So meaning that my array now will be 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 23. That means what I added, what is new is 2, 4, and 23 is new, right? Meaning that my answer would be 3, right? For me to get to 40. So basically that's it, and I'll show you the code, my implementation in Python, and let's go to the code. All right, so the first thing first is I want to have a total sum, right? For me to track down how much sum I have so far, right? The next thing is I want to loop through my array one by one. So when I look through my array, my expected value, let's just call it expected value, should be my total sum. That's the expected value of my new of n should be total sum plus 1. Now if it should be total sum from y. Now if my value is less than or equals to the total sum, my expected value, is fine, right? But let's say let's say it doesn't work. Let's say, okay, let me take that again. If if v is less than or equals to my expected value, it's fine, right? What I want to do is I want to now take my total sum, right? And I want to my total sum, I want to add v to it. Basically, I want to take my total sum, I want to add v to it, right? And then what I want to do is I want to do if my total sum is greater than or equals to n. If it's greater than or equals to n, it means that I've reached the condition, I've reached n. I want to return something. So I also want to take note of how many times I add to append to the array. Return that. We set that as count. How many times I needed to add to the array. So this works, meaning that if v is less than or equals the expected value, it means that I can just carry on. But if that doesn't happen, what it means is that I did not get to my expected value, meaning that v is greater than my expected value. So what I want to do is I want to append. So I'm going to use a while loop. So while my let's call it, let's see, why v is greater than my expected value. Why v is greater than my expected value? I want to do something. I want to increase my count because I want to add to it. It means I'm preparing to add to it, and what I want to add to it is I want to add the expected value that I'm supposed to get. So when I add the expected value I'm supposed to get, my total sum would now increase by the expected value that I was supposed to get. So if my total sum increased by the expected value I'm supposed to get, my new expected value would now be equals to total sum plus 1. Do you get? My new expected value will be total sum plus 1. But mind you, before my while loop goes to a new iteration, I also want to do this check too. I always want to know if I've gotten to my bus stop, and I return what I have so far. Now for the case in which the array has been exceeded, but I've still not gotten to my total value, what I want to do is I just want to keep adding. So I want to keep adding while n is still greater than the total sum I have so far. While n is still greater than the total sum I have so far, I want to increase my count, meaning that I'm ready to add to it, and then I want to increase my count, and then I want to add my total sum. I want to increase it by my total sum plus 1, basically. Or better still, my expected value form. My expected value should actually be my total sum plus 1. So I just want to increase it by the expected value I should have next. Right. So total sum will keep increasing until it's more than n, and then the while loop stops. And from there I could just easily return count. And let's see if this works first. It doesn't work. Okay, so expected value 2. I got it 2 here, I got it 4 here. Okay, let's see what I'm doing wrong. So I'm looking through the norms. I have an expected value of what I have so far. If my value is less than or equals to the expected value, I want to increase my total sum by v, and if I've gotten to my total sum, I want to return. Yeah, this works fine, but if that doesn't work, I want to keep looping while v is greater than my expected value. Yeah, and while v is greater than my expected value, I want to add 1 to it. I want to increase my total sum by the expected value, and then I want to set my new expected value to be what my total sum plus 1, and I want to know if my total sum is greater than n, and then I want to return count. Okay, I think this is where it fails. So if v is less than, I want to do this. I think this is where it fails. Let's print, let's try to debug it. Okay, it doesn't actually stops here, so it actually gets here, meaning that this part of the code is not working as well as it should be, and because it's not supposed to actually get here, it's supposed to insert before getting here. So let's even see if we get to this part of the code. So we get to this part of the code where count increases by 1, and where count increases by 1, and let's try to see our total sum. Okay, so our total sum so far is 3, which is 1 plus 2 basically, which is 3, and our expected value now is going to be total sum plus 1, which is 3 plus 1, 4, right? Because we've already put 2, 1, 2, that's 3, so our next value should be 4. If 4 is greater than or equals to n, it's not greater than, so it should go back here, right, and get our expected value, which is total sum, which is 3 plus 1, 4. Our next value 3 is less than or equals to 4. Our next value is 3 is less than or equals to 4. Then okay, so should have entered here. Okay, now should have entered here. So okay, it only entered here once, it doesn't enter here twice, and why doesn't it enter here twice? It's supposed to enter here twice. Okay, so expected value 1, expected value 2, expected value 2, but we are updating our total sum. Where is our expected value at first time 1, then our new expected value is 2. Okay. As far as our expected value is 0, then 1, expected value is 1, then 2. While v is less than or now v is less than, so it's going 1, it's going 2. Okay. Okay, let me just calm down and debug it. So Let's see how it goes. So at first it goes 1 and 0, then it goes 1 and 0 1, then it enters here, which is V, makes sense, makes sense for it to be 1. Then the next thing, it goes again, right, where our new index is 3, right, and our new index is 3, so it should go into the else statement and go as 3, where our total sum is 3. Oh, okay. But when our total sum is 3, it now goes out of the index, right? Because of I've gotten to 3, right? So it goes out of the index because we've gotten to 3. So okay, I think I get it now. So at first we have a 1, right? We have a 1. Our total sum is 1, right? So next time it enters, our total sum becomes 2, basically. Our total sum becomes 2, and then it can't go here because of 3 is less than 2, so it should go here. So it should go here because of 3 is greater than 2, so it should go here. So since 3 is greater than 2, we need to add something in between, which is our total sum, right? Our total sum is total sum is now equals to 3, meaning that our next one, that means we're doing 1 plus 2, 3, right? And okay, so count is, that means we have added 1 to it. Count is 1, right? So our total sum should be equals to our total sum is now 3, which is 1 plus 2, 3. Okay, since our total sum is equals to 3, 1 plus 2, 3, meaning that we've added 1 to it. So now our v is greater than exponential, meaning that our next value should be, v should be greater than or equals to, that means 3 should be greater than, or greater than, as long as 3 is greater than. Now 3 is no more greater than because of our new exponential is 3. So at the end of the day, I think what we want to do is actually, we want to now add our total sum. Since we're out of it, we want to add our total sum plus v, basically. We want to add our total sum plus v since we're already out of it. And once we add our total sum plus v, it should work now. And let's see if that works. Okay, so I think I'm also missing this too. We should also do another check at the end of the day so that we don't need to keep adding. And we should also do another check. So I'm just going to use this test case again. Yeah. So we need to do another check again, because if we don't do another check, it will start again from the loop again, and then make sure to check again. So we want to do another check. Okay. All right. What was causing the issue is after I do this while loop to check if my index is valid, I forgot to add that particular value to my total sum, because on the next iteration I'm skipping the value if I don't add the value. So yeah, I hope it was at least a bit clear. It's been a while I did video, sure. At least it's a bit clear. So basically the idea is, when you're taking your total sum, as long as the next value is equal to the value you should be expecting, or less than the value you should be expecting, you can form a range from 1 to n. That's how it works. All right, thank you very much.